Hi everyone, you're very welcome to day 7 of 100 Days of Poetry. My name is Krystal Long and today is the 1st of May 2020. We've entered into a new month, which brings it a new focus, a new mindset, and more opportunities to achieve those goals that we've always wanted to achieve. And my goal for today is to recite a well-known poem by one of my favourite poems, by one of my favourite poets. This particular poem I have loved since my early teens. It's by a poet named Walter De La Mare. And Walter De La Mare was born in London in April of 1873. And over the course of his life, he's written so many poems and he's written so much poetry that would, I suppose, in a way, appeal to children. And he's written books for children as well. So this particular poem is The Listeners. And I love this since I was in junior cert as studying for my examinations, and it was one of the studied poems that was in the selection that we had for the junior cert examinations. And even more, as years went by, I became an English teacher myself. I taught Leaving Cert and Junior Cert certificate English for examinations. And it was a real pleasure for me to reintroduce this poem to my students, as it were, at the time. And it's one of those very rare moments on first reading this or hearing this poem is when you know something important, something deep and lasting has happened. It's also great that The Listeners gently provokes many wonderful interpretations. For me, this poem's mystery should remain under De La Mare's lock and key, for that is its transcended power, especially on a young mind. This poem is full of alliteration, it's full of lovely imagery, and it creates a wonderful vision in the head or in the mind as I read down through the poem. It sets a scene in your head. It talks about the traveller coming up to this house in a wood, nobody there, when clearly he was sent on a mission of some sort, but it's very eerie and it's very strange scene, I suppose, in a way, but just the description and how the author or the poet Walter De La Mare kind of provokes the imagination because it allows us to set the scene in our mind. So this is Walter De La Mare's The Listeners. "Is there anybody there?" said the traveller, knocking on a moonlit door, and his horse in the silence champed the grass of the forest's ferny floor. And a bird flew up out of the turret above the traveller's head, and he smote upon the door again a second time. "Is there anybody there?" he said. But no one descended to the traveller. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his grey eyes, where he stood perplexed and still. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwelt in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. Stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall, hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveller's call. And he felt in his heart their strangeness, their stillness answering his cry, while his horse moved cropping the dark turf neath the starred and leafy sky. For suddenly he smote upon the door even louder and lifted his head. "Tell them I came and no one answered, that I kept my word," he said. Never the last stir made the listeners, though every word he spake fell echoing through the shadowness of the still house from the one man left awake. Aye, they heard his foot upon the stirrup, and the sound of iron and stone, and how the silence surged softly backward when the plunging hoofs were gone. I look forward to doing day 8 of my 100 days of poetry. Tomorrow, soon it's Saturday the 2nd of May, I will recite some piece of poetry or literature that I wrote myself for your enjoyment. Until then, thank you.